let us start sitting down. I am bringing my computer over here so that I can see you. Okay, so we're going to start in a Baddha Hasta shape. So your heels as close to your pelvis as you can comfortably get them. We'll interlace the fingers around the toes. We're going to press the knees as low as we can and then lift them as high as we can. We'll just do this for about a minute, give or take. Try not to go with momentum. Go as big as you can, as high and as low. And we'll try to keep the pelvis somewhat stable. So we're not really doing a whole lot of rock and rolling. Your back is not arching and rounding. It's just your hip flexors that we're working. Because later we're going to be doing some straddle work and headstands. When we think of headstand, we think, of the foundation a lot, and that's necessary. But when we're doing something like straddle, we're going to have to be using our legs a lot. And, they need to be awake for that. Let's just take a few more little ups and downs. And you don't have to go at my pace, whatever pace you want. Okay, and then we'll let the left heel come in kind of center place. We'll baby cradle the right leg. You can hold on with your hands, or you can put your foot in your elbow, and we're going to move the cradle back and forth. The same idea as when you were doing the Baddha Hasta, you go as big of a range as you can, and try not to be sort of wiggly in your belly or your back. You're just letting your hip move. And you can go fast or slow. For me, it feels a little better to go fast. I'm not sure why. We'll just take a few more like this. Just warming up the hip in a way maybe that you're not used to doing, which does not invalidate it. Plenty of schools of yoga do not warm up with some salutations like we would in Ashtanga. All right, let's switch legs. So we'll put the right heel as close to the pelvis as we can. There should be no knee pain. So if there is, just do something else with your leg. Maybe the bottom leg has to be straight, no big deal. Maybe the top leg is like super close to the floor, kind of like shuffling it along the floor. We're just trying to wake up the left hip. And check if you're slouching. Try to avoid that. If you want more challenge, you can try to lean forward just a bit. It will feel like leaning forward, but now actually your hips and shoulders are in line. And Miss Lisa, I'm talking to you pretty much direct. You were leaning back like 2.5 inches, and now you are straight. All right, so let's let go of that leg, and we'll come into a tabletop. Hands under shoulders, and let's do a few little scapular push-ups. So we'll keep the arms straight. We'll just drop the chest, and then lift the spine up toward the ceiling. So you'll feel maybe 4 inches of movement up and down. And really, if you keep your arms straight, you're going to feel the necessity of squeezing your forearms in toward one another. Okay, the next time that you're pushing the floor away, we'll stay like that. And we'll go through a few little cat-cows. Inhale, chest up, chin up. Exhale, chin in, elbow down. Let's just do 2 more like that. And we'll start to bring our legs into the equation. So let's take one more inhale to arch. On the exhale, you're going to bring your right knee toward your forehead. And it's still that rounded shape. Inhale to extend the right leg back. Lift the chin, so there's your arch. On the exhale, place the right knee down and bring the left knee in toward your face. Inhale to extend the left leg back. Exhale to place the left knee down and bring the right knee in. Inhale, extend the right leg back, arch. Keep a lot of weight in your right hand. Exhale, right knee down, left knee toward the nose. A lot of weight in that left hand. Inhale, extend the left leg back. Exhale, place the left knee down, bring the right knee in. Inhale, right leg extends back. Exhale, right knee down, left knee in. We're trying to keep the weight equal on the hand. Inhale, left leg back. Exhale, left knee down, right knee in. And equal is going to feel like now that your right leg is extending back, your right arm has to work harder. Exhale, left knee will curl in. Inhale, left leg back. So it's really the whole left side of the body that's working hard. And let's change it to the right side of the body. Exhale as you curl in. Inhaling to extend away. That whole right side engaged. And we'll just take one more breath. Left knee comes in for that exhale. Extend back for the inhale. We'll just place the left knee down. Find that tabletop again. Let's come down to the forearms to give your wrists a break. Lift the knees up, press back, down dog V. If that's too much for your shoulders, then of course go to straight arm downward dog. But sometimes tabletops are very wrist intensive, so it's nice to get onto the forearms for a moment. And just take 2 more breaths. Notice if you're starting to sweat yet. That little tabletop exercise always makes me sweat. Okay, let's straighten the arms, regular downward dog. We'll start walking feet forward toward the hands. When they get close, inhale to extend your spine. Exhale to fold any amount down. Let's bend into the knees, lift the arms, inhale. And we'll twist the right. Hook that left elbow outside of the right thigh. We'll just stay here for 3 breaths. Let's look down for a sec and make sure that the knees are lined up. So you'll have to push your right knee a little bit more forward. It's going to want to slide back. Last breath, we'll look up toward the ceiling and we'll try to keep the hips and the knees right where they were. Let's slowly untwist, straighten the legs. You can place your fingers on the ground or on your shin. Inhale halfway up and step back to plank. Let's make this a modified plank. So we'll place our knees on the floor. We'll just get a straight line from knees to top of head. And let's attempt those little scapular push-ups from here. The same thing you did in tabletop. You let your arms stay straight and you just drop your chest low and lift the shoulders kind of up and out. Let's just take 1 more. And let's meet in a modified Chaturanga. So we'll let the arms settle into the socket. And we'll just bend the elbows so we feel them hugging on the ribs. Take 1 more breath here. Push into the inside edge of your hand. Straighten the arms again. Downward dog. So we squeeze the forearms toward one another for pretty much all of those different shapes. That's going to keep our elbows in line. That's going to keep our energy pressing down to the floor. Okay, let's start to walk the feet forward toward the hands. When you get there, reach your chest forward, gaze forward. And exhale, fold, drop the head. Bend the knees, reach up, inhale. And let's twist to the left, hook your right elbow. And if you do this, kind of letting your hips do what they want, just look down and see your right knee is way forward, your left knee is way back. So it's good to sometimes just let things happen, because then you know what your tendency is. Now try to fix it so you're square. Look up, see the ceiling that's over your mat. Lift your chest up toward your thumb. Let's unravel. We'll straighten the legs, drop the head. Inhale halfway up and step to plank. In this plank, you can have your knees down, of course, no problem. We're just gonna bring our right knee to the elbow and then step back again. And the other side, left knee to elbow and step back again. Just alternate at your pace. You could also do this from the forearms if you have any wrist pain. Whichever way you try it, just bring your hips to a steadiness. So they're still facing the ground and they're not really moving right to left, even as your legs are moving. You have to find that stability. Just take one more round. And we'll meet in downward dog again. You can vinyasa or not. And when you get to down dog, just relax your neck. You'll basically be looking at your ankles or your thighs. If you have back pain, potentially look at your belly button instead. Basically looking at it through your shirt. That will help you find Uddiyana Bandha, which might help you stretch your back. Okay, let's start walking the feet forward toward the hands. When you get close, inhale halfway up and exhale forward. Bend into the knees, Titibasana, inhale, and let's twist to the right again. Hook your left arm, prayer twist, and we'll step back into a lunge. So once you have your twists established, then left foot goes back. John, step your left foot back. I think you zoned out there for a sec. We'll blame it on Zoom. One more breath here. Okay, let's untwist. We'll reach up for a high lunge. And we'll just bend into the back knee, any amount. You may or may not want to touch your knee to the floor, and then straighten the back leg again. We'll just take two more like that. You'll feel your tailbone go down when the leg is bent. And then you just have to work harder to keep your tailbone down when the leg is straight. This next one, let's open up the arms. So the legs will be the same, just that you're adding the twist. And we'll take three like that. And you decide how big you get that back leg. Of course, you have to straighten it again. So if you go very far, it might be hard. Okay, hands to the floor. Vinyasa or downward dog. Let's come forward to plank again. Make your choice. Do you want to do it straight arms? Do you want your knees down? And then we'll tap our right foot out to the side and swing it back again. And the left foot out to the side and swing it back again. So you just go as far out as you want. You might even just be touching the edge of your mat. That's fine. Just the opening and closing. Carol, drop your butt a little bit. Yeah. And just like before, try not to wiggle too much with the hips. Let's just take one more. And then decide if you want a vinyasa or not. We'll meet in downward dog. Lately, I've been skipping vinyasas because of my shoulder, but there are countless reasons that you would want to skip a vinyasa. There's also countless reasons you would want to add vinyasas. So of course, if I don't say it, you can still do it. Let's start walking feet to hands. When you get close, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Bend into the knees. Utkatasana into our prayer twist. We hook our right arm outside the left thigh. And we step the right foot back. So now we're in a prayer twist lunge. We're trying to get our thumb to the center of the chest. To do that, we have to get our chest up off the thigh. You can't be kind of comfortable resting on your thigh. The torso is rising up toward the ceiling. untwist. We'll reach up. And we'll take 3 little lungy bends of the back knee. And just pay attention to your pelvis here. You could always put your hands on your pelvis if you want. You don't have to reach up. You'll notice that when your back knee is bent, your pubic bone rises, your tailbone lowers. We just try to keep that. Let's open it up on the exhale. I'm going to take my left arm out of the equation. Inhale, lunge. 2 more times. And we'll lower the hands to the floor. Down dog or vinyasa. Let's rock forward to plank again. And we'll just do this a few times, nothing crazy. We're going to lift our right leg off the ground and curl it in toward our nose. Exhale. 3-legged plank. Inhale. Exhale, curl in. Inhale, extend away. 1 more time this side. Let's rest in downward dog before we do the other side. If you have any wrist issues, do it from the forearms. Just know that if you're on your forearms, your knee is not going to touch your nose. Not a big deal. Let's rock forward again. Set up how you need to. Left leg off the ground. And 3 times we exhale, curl in. Inhale, extend that left leg straight. Exhale. Inhale, point the toes of the left foot. 1 more time. And we meet in downward dog for rest. I'm going to go to down dog B. You decide what works for you. And whenever you get there, relax your neck. In down dog, your neck should not be tense. Whenever there's a pose that you have a tension that you can't seem to manage, you need to change something that you're doing in the pose. And that just takes practice to figure out what it is that you can do. Okay, let's re-straighten the arms. Let's lift the right leg up to the sky and step forward to the hands. Warrior 1. Let's put our hands on our hips for this one. Bring your right hip back, left hip forward. And squeeze the elbows toward one another and lift the chest up. We'll just take a few breaths like this. Let's turn this into lizard. So we'll try to keep the chest open. We'll place our hands on the big toe side of the foot. Lift the back heel. Drop the chest low. Remember all those scapular push-ups we did. So try to get your chest to relax down. And maybe come down onto the forearms. Try to get your right elbow as heavy as your left elbow if you've gone down there. Let's take 2 more breaths. Jules, maybe you could kiss Sally on the butt right now. It's the cutest butt ever in the whole world. Oh, Sally. Oh, Sally. All right, let's come on to the hands again. We'll lower the back knee, spin the front foot out about 45 degrees, and let the front knee drop open. So it's still lizard, it's just another version. This one more similar to your pigeon stretch. Also similar to that baby cradle thing you did at the very start. 1 more breath here. And we'll turn it into Parshvakonasana. So right hand will now come to the pinky toe side of the foot. We'll make that right foot face straight forward. We'll turn the legs into warrior 2. We'll reach that left arm over the ear. Your right hand could be on a block. It could be fingertips. It could be the floor. Maybe elbow on the thigh. You want to feel something in your right hip, which will in turn bring you happiness in your low back. Good, let's turn it into triangle. We're going to keep our left arm over the ear. So we'll scoot our left foot in just a bit, straighten the right leg, And we'll try to get a straight line from our left hip to our left fingertips. 2 more breaths. And Katie, turn your hand down the other way. Yeah, like that. Good. All right, let's lower the left fingertips down. And we'll just step back, vinyasa or downward dog. We'll get to do all of that on side 2. We'll lift the left leg up high, inhale, and step to the hands, exhale. Warrior 1, hands to the hips. Notice the tendency to be kind of a diagonal facing creature. Face forward if you can. Use your right hand to literally roll your right hip forward. Hands to the hips, squeeze your elbows together. And just feel how that makes your chest lift. Everything is open. Okay, so try to maintain that openness in your lizard. Hands will come down, back heel will come up. It's real tempting to start to sort of collapse inward. But we want to keep our chest open, our collarbone open, throat open. If you can, come down to your elbows. So some of you in this class practice Titibasana on the regular. In Titibasana, it's very tempting to sort of collapse in because you have your legs behind you, sort of pushing you into a turtle shape. But notice in Titibasana how you have to press your shoulders back. So same concept here, you just are pressing into space. You still have to maintain the openness. So this, in essence, is prepping you for Titibasana. Okay, let's come to the palms. Lower the back knee. Turn that left foot out to the side of it. And let that knee wane open. So it's flying away from your ribs. And if you don't know what Titibasana is, do not worry. A, we're not doing it today. And B, if you don't know what it is, it just means that your progression is not yet at that spot. And that's just physical progression. Sometimes people will say, who's the best yogi you know? It's like, that is an impossible question. Because you can't see what's going on inside of someone. All right, let's spin that left foot forward again. Right heel down, so we're in warrior 2 legs, and we'll turn this into Parsvakonasana. Right arm out. Extended side angle pose in English. So we have a straight line, ideally from foot to hand, and this is for conduction of energy. So we're not just making pretty shapes, although it is pretty. We are trying to move the chi. One more breath here. Scoop that left hip under a little bit more and turn it into triangles. Keep scooping that left hip under. You may or may not want to scoop your back foot in a little bit. I scoop mine in like maybe 4 inches, but it's sort of a personal preference thing. One more breath. Should feel pretty nice in your waist, the right waist. Okay, let's lower the hand, step back, vinyasa or downward dog. Okay. So from down dog, we're going to lift our right leg up behind us. We'll swing it out to the side, kind of like we did in our plank little exercise. We'll swing it back again, and we'll lower the foot down. And then we'll try the left side. We lift it up. We open the hip a little bit so the leg can swing left. We swing it back, and we lower the foot. We'll just do this a few times. Notice the temptation to be shifty in your hands. Try to keep your hands equal partners. And if you want to be on your forearms, that is totally fine. It's actually quite lovely. One more each side. If you keep your foot flexed, it might be a little easier to sort of get some oomph. Okay, so So whenever you're done with your left side, we're just going to bring our right foot forward for Anjaneyasana, John's favorite. We'll try to drop our hips. My hamstrings have been sore, and I realize it's because on Friday I made us do all these things when we brought our foot in. I blame myself. So we'll combine this with your previous lizard pose. Let's bring our left hand down, turn the right foot out at that angle, drop the right knee away from you, and start to twist. Reach back with your right hand, get your palm to face up, and try to angle your thumb so that it's like reaching across your back. You're gonna feel nice in the shoulder there. Start to bring your right foot in. So your hamstring is bringing your foot to meet your hand. Then once you have the grip, you can kick a little bit and open the shoulder a little more perhaps. But one more breath here. And we'll unravel. We're going to turn this into twisted triangle. So that right foot will face front. We'll straighten both legs. And for right now, let's bring our left hand up to the shin. I know a lot of you can go to the floor, but just for the sake of this particular little drill. So the hand on the shin means you have to squeeze your legs together like mad for balance. Let's reach our right arm up. And then we'll do the same thing we did in lizard. We're going to try to go back. So we'll turn the thumb to face the left side of our mat. We'll kind of reach with the hand and the thumb. So we're opening the shoulder in a similar way to what you did in lizard. And just take one more breath there. And let's slowly turn it into what you would consider your normal twisted triangle. The left hand will just slide down to where you want it to be, and we'll look up at that right thumb. And potentially that little drill opens your shoulder a bit more. Maybe it made your legs squeeze together more so you feel balanced. Also, maybe it did that. That's a valid option. Okay, let's slowly unravel. And we'll just step back. Either vinyasa or don't. Take a breath either way. Vinyasa will encourage you to move at a steady breath pace. But if you choose not to vinyasa, you still have to breathe at a steady pace. Let's bring the left foot forward. Anjaneyasana. We'll take a few breaths here just to settle in. So try to deal with this tightness that we all have to varying degrees. Sometimes I think about if I was a truck driver, how hard this would be. Can you imagine sitting for 8 to 10 hours a day? Okay, let's turn this into the lizard twist. So right hand down, left toes spin out about 45 degrees. We'll reach the left arm up, and we'll start to angle it back. Almost like it's going to cross the plane of your body. Start to reach it back more. Bring your foot up toward the hand. So you have to use your hamstring to get that grip. You could always use a strap if the foot is too far away, or you could just have like an open circuit. Jules, I don't know if Sally's in the way, but maybe you can move your right hand a little more over, maybe over her butt. Yeah, and then you can lean a bit and get your right hip lower to the floor. Yeah. Let's slowly get out of there. We'll set up for twisted triangle. So we have a heel to heel alignment, both legs straight, right foot at an angle. Let's put the right hand on the left shin. So even just being here and balancing is very hard. Square your hips forward and down. And when you can, left arm up. And start to do what you did in lizard. Let it cross the plane of your body. And let it open your left shoulder, sort of taking your chest into this opening that you sort of can't avoid if you're reaching with that hand. One more breath here. Keep your legs straight. Good, let's slide into regular twisted triangle. That might mean that your hand is pretty much staying put, right hand on shin. Or maybe your right hand goes to your ankle, or to a block, or to the floor. Let's slowly unravel. We're just going to quarter turn to the side for Prasarita A. The feet will face the long edge of the mat. We'll put the hands on the floor, inhale. And exhale, drop your head, fold forward. Let your upper body just sort of spill out of your pelvis. The legs stay strong. Okay, let's turn this into goddess pose. So we'll lift the chest up away from the floor. Spin the heels in. Bend the knees and put the hands on the inside of the knees. We'll lean forward so that the straight arms are just pushing the knees back without a whole lot of effort. If you spin your heels in more, it's going to be easier. To do this with the feet facing front would be very painful. You might want to shift a little side to side. Come to regular goddess pose, so that would be without leaning forward. Now we're trying to get our shoulders over our hips. The hard part is our knees still have to push back. If you feel them dropping in like this, you might need to adjust your feet so that they're not quite as far facing out. Let's bring our arms to cactus. On the inhale, we're going to straighten the legs and reach up. On the exhale, we'll return to cactus. And I'm just going to do this with my right arm, but you should do it with both if you can. So the work really is, can you scoop your hips under as you're straightening your legs? Just take a few more. So it's this rotation going external, spiraling continuously. And the next time that you're in a bent knee position, we'll just lean forward, lower the hands, slide the heels out, and we'll come into Prasarita D. We'll reach for the big toes, inhale, and fold, exhale. And you can always hold the shins or the ankles instead. Try to relax your neck. Good. Engage the quads a little bit more. Okay, let's rise halfway up for an inhale. Bring the hands to the hips for your exhale. Come the rest of the way up, inhale. Based on your space, make your way into Ardha Chandrasana, right leg. So I'm just going to spin to the right and launch the left leg off the ground. But if you have a closet or a bureau right there, maybe you have to face a different way. So we're on our right foot. Let's try to look up at our left thumb and get that left shoulder to move back just a few inches. And in order to do that without falling backwards, we're going to move our right hip forward a bit. Okay, so changing sides however you can. I'm just going to step back, rise up, and pivot around. There's a million ways to change side. Just somehow stand on your left foot and have your right leg up in the air. Flex your right foot and kick that heel back. But the left hand could be up on something. It doesn't have to be on the ground. Series of books, an ottoman maybe. Carol, move your right shoulder back a little more. Good. Okay, let's just lower the right fingers. Step the right foot to meet the left foot. Bend the knees and roll up to standing. Feels nice to stand. Let's bring the hands together. Right ankle to left thigh. We'll just fold into flying pigeon. So some of you are going to stay there. Some of you are going to turn it into a baby cradle type of thing. which will be like when you were sitting, but standing up. Either way is fine. We're all going to meet in the flying pigeon again in a moment anyway. It's just how much hip stuff do you want? Okay, if you're standing, escort your ankle back onto your left thigh. And let's turn it into a squat. You decide if feet go together or apart. And you'll just drop your butt as low as you can. You might even want your toes facing an angle, like little duck feet. I did that for a very long time until my hips were okay with coming lower. Good. And let's find the other side. Left ankle to lower right thigh. Hold. So to get this into the hips, you got to bend your right leg quite a bit and stick your butt out. Lean your chest forward. And Kate, flex your foot more. That left foot. Flex it. Yes. And John, maybe your right knee can bend a little more. If you stood on the other side, try to stand here. And notice how hard it is to get the right leg straight if you're choosing to stand up. Oh, Lordy. You're standing, bring your ankle again down to your thigh. And let's release our foot and squat. You might put your feet in the same place that you did before, or you might not. And let's come down onto our butts. Depending on where you are, you can just lower onto your butt, or you go some other way. And let's lift the legs up so that the toes are just knee height. And let's just play with this for a sec. Let's let the toes touch the ground and then try to lift them again up to knee height. So we'll do this a few times, just up and down with the shins. Notice it's the same for your abdominal strength, but dang, is it not the same for your hip flexors? When the toes get to knee height, the hip flexors start to grip. That is one of the many reasons why Navasana is so dang hard. All right, let's meet with the toes at knee height. Just 3 breaths. Okay, oh Lordy, let's get out of there. Untitled A. Right foot to left thigh. And I'm just facing this way for camera, but you just face normal front. So 90 degrees between the thighs. Before we fold, let's inhale, and we're just going to twist to face our left leg. Then inhale back to what would be normal, which is kind of like between your thighs. Exhale to twist again, facing the left leg. Inhale to what would be normal. Exhale to twist. And I'm just going to put my arms in this little robot position as I do it, just because it helps me track where I would go normal and where I have to go working. And the next time that you find yourself facing that left leg, notice how much work it takes. Stay there for the inhale, and then fold forward, keeping that twist as you reach for your foot or wherever along the leg. So sometimes we think Sirsasana A is like a little resting place, but in fact it is not. Sally, did she move you out the way so her leg could go straight? Oh my goodness, Mama, Sally needs a bed. Oh my God, she is just the cutest. Okay, let's rise up and we'll just change sides. So right leg out, left foot in, 90 degrees between the thighs if you can. And if you have any knee pain, just be in a L shape. You'll get the same kind of work. So we exhale to twist, and we inhale, we sort of relax, but that doesn't mean we slouch. We exhale, we twist, we inhale, neutral. So you can tell how your shoulders are moving. It's like you're wringing out your spine, like a wet towel. You're not leaning forward or back. You're just kind of pivoting on that axis. So let's move the shoulders. All right. The next time you're facing the right leg, stay there for the inhale. Make sure the leg is straight and then fold forward. And to keep the leg straight, I like to think about pressing the calf muscle into the floor. Some folks like to stare at their kneecap and watch it rise up toward the quadriceps. That's the downward way. It's all mind games. Whatever you need to do to get that leg to stay straight. Okay, let's rise up. We'll let go of the legs, and we'll just lean back a little bit so our hands are underneath our thighs. And let's try to get our toes about knee height. Hello, hip flexors. Then we'll move the left hand onto the right leg also, and we'll twist. So it's like you're kind of rowing a canoe. You can keep your hands there, or you can reach your arms out wide. It may be harder, it may not be. You can take a few little kind of leaning backs and rising ups again if you want. But the point is that you have twisted. Okay, let's come through center. Rest for a moment. I'm just gonna place the memory. And then we'll lift our legs up again. Hold on to the thighs for a sec so you know your toes are high enough. And reach your right hand over to your left. Start the twist. And that might be enough, or you can play with your arms, you can play with lowering and lifting, just so that you feel something working in your midsection in an asymmetrical way. Good. Now we'll come back through center, and let's release the legs down. Let's find a V shape with the legs. Doesn't have to be too wide, something comfortable, something you can maintain. We'll reach our arms out, or you can cross your hands over your shoulders. Either way, inhale, twist to face the right leg, exhale. Inhale, center, exhale, face the left leg. Notice how now your right leg has to push harder into the floor. Inhale, center, exhale, twist right. Inhale, center, and exhale, twist left. Okay. We'll just come through center, we'll lower our hands down. We're gonna lean back just a bit and try to lift one leg off the ground. Lower it down again and rock forward. So again, your shoulders are over your hips. Lean back so there's a little rounding shape, then lift the other leg. Lower it down and rock forward again, reset. And let's just try that one more time each side. Your leg might not even get off the ground, but if your brain says lift, the work is being done. You just visualize that it's lifted. Okay, this next time we're going to attempt to lift both legs. Your hands can be anywhere that you need. And then we'll lower them down and rock forward again, and we'll just try it one more time. I put my hands back, but you could kind of do anything with them that suits you. Okay, that was great fun, right? Let's wiggle the legs together. And vinyasa. So that was sort of more prep for the straddle headstand concepts. But nothing is isolated. That also helps many other poses. Okay, let's get one of these little headstands out of the way. So, I'm going to tuck my shirt in so it does not reveal a very, very wide belly. We're going to go for Baddha Hasta A, and we'll just do it like this. I'm going to walk my feet in. I'm going to come up to about a L shape, give or take. I'm going to open my legs wide, and then I'm going to squeeze them in again. And I'll just attempt to do 3 openings and closings. And you can maybe go all the way to your max, kind of split shape, or maybe you go just a few inches. See how it goes. Oh, this is going very easy. made it onto your belly there, but when you were up, it looked good. And then I was watching Lisa, and next thing you know, you're on your belly. Okay, let's do one more version for now, and then we'll kind of do other things and come back to it. This time we're going to go from that spot down and up. So we'll be keeping the legs wide. I'll just face this way for the sake of the camera. So you can start with your legs wide. You'll lift them up to about what might be that halfway point and then lower them down. So we're just going to stay in the wide place and just practice the lifting and lowering. And I think it helps if the legs stay pretty straight. Sometimes I forget about the legs because I'm thinking about the foundation so much. And when my mind goes back to them, I realize they weren't all the way straight. So then I just re-straighten them. And if you can't lower all the way to the floor, no big deal. You just go as low as you can. And then you come back to that L kind of position. And if you're not inverting today, down dog B is a good choice. Because then you'll still get your shoulders all worked out. Good. All right, so let's come on down and let's just meet in down dog B so that you can shake out your head a little bit. Let's straighten the arms, normal down dog, right leg forward pigeon. Let's go for downward facing pigeon. So we'll lower to the forearms maybe, or maybe even your head comes down to the floor. If it's so easy that your mind is wandering, try to back up your left leg a little bit more so that you feel more in your right hip. So remember what this feels like. We're going to go in just a moment to Ardha matsyendrasana, and we want to create a very similar stretch for our right hip in Ardha matsyendrasana. So let's rise up. We'll swing the left leg around, and we're going to plunk our right foot up and over that left leg. And then you decide, do you want to keep your left leg straight or do you want to bend it? That is not going to influence whether you feel a stretch in your right hip or not. Let's twist our left shoulder to our right knee. This knee has to be pulled over to the left. So your arm is literally, like instead of letting your knee kind of hang out, it's literally pulling the knee to the left so that you feel a stretch in this hip. And then if you want, you can hook your arm, then the stretch is even more. If you want, you can reach down. Then the stretch potentially is more, but also maybe you're distracted by other things. So you decide. This should feel pretty good in the back. If it doesn't, maybe you've gone a little too intense. Try to sit up tall. Maybe look over your right shoulder. Okay, and let's slowly unravel. And let's maybe cradle the right leg like you did earlier. Maybe it's different now. And your left leg could just be doing what it was in your Ardha matsyendrasana. So mine was bent. It's going to stay bent. You can have it straight. Doesn't matter. Take one more breath. And we're going to attempt a not happy baby here with this right leg. So we'll hold our right foot with our right hand. We'll get the sole of the foot to face front. And as best we can, we'll just pull that knee back. My knee flies away. So I have to use both hands to kind of corral that leg. And then I try to tuck it under the armpit. Whatever you need to do that to try to push your knee back as opposed to a diagonal back. Take one more breath. This is prepping us for Marichyasana A, which is also great for the back stretch. Okay, let's straighten the left leg if it was bent, and place your right foot on the floor about 5 inches away from your left thigh. We'll reach our right arm forward. You could stay reaching it forward, or you can try wrapping it around your leg. The middle ground would be reaching it out to the side. We're trying to get our armpit in front of our shin. If you can get your armpit in front of your shin, getting the bind is a function of your shoulders. So shoulders are very intense and sensitive, and there's so much going on. So maybe you do a one-arm bind, maybe you use the strap. You fold forward as much as you want to. Wherever you're folding, draw your belly button up. So it's like you have a space between your torso and your thigh. Okay, and let's rise up, unravel yourself, vinyasa. I'm actually going to take this vinyasa because I need the back bend to counter all of those forward bends we just did. Okay, I'm doing all this on the other side. We start with pigeon. So let's go left leg, pigeon. I like to walk my right leg back to deepen it. And I keep my left foot in one place, and I walk my left knee back to deepen it. And that way I can always start real easy and decide where I want to go. I would always err on the side of start easy and then deepen it. You don't really want to start deep and then decide you did too much, because it might be too late. Okay, let's rise up. We'll turn it into Ardha matsyendrasana. So we want the same stretch from pigeon to be in Ardha matsyendrasana. So right leg comes forward, left foot plumps over the right knee, about halfway past the knee. Right leg bent or straight. And then if you do kind of nothing here, this left knee is going to be kind of flopping over to the left. So you need to really push it to the right. Keep this left hip on the floor. Keep it level with the right hip, so it's not going to spin back. It's going to actually push forward as you twist back. So any arm position that you can muster, you're looking over your left shoulder, and your left shoulder is moving back, your left hip is moving forward. The result is a really deep hip stretch. Two more breaths. I can tell I haven't done this pose in a while. It feels amazing, and I want to stay forever. Okay, let's unravel. Untwist, and we'll turn it into our baby cradle. And here, notice the tendency to slouch. It's real. So if you cannot avoid it, like sometimes just being mindful of it, you can roll your shoulders back, chest up. If that doesn't help, just sit up on something, a block or a blanket, and then life will be easier. Let's turn it into our half happy baby. Left hand to left foot. The sole of the foot will face front, and we try to push the knee back. And you can see how mine flies away. So I just kind of corral it. If you have a wall behind you, sometimes it's fun to try to push the knee back into the wall, which then would be very similar to your happy baby on the floor when you try to take it to the floor. Good. Let's straighten the right leg. Turn this into Marichyasana A. So we place that left heel very close to the sitting bone. There's some space here though between foot and thigh because you need your torso to have room. Left hand can hold your right foot. You're just trying to get your armpit forward of your shin. You can walk your left hand out to the side maybe. The right hand can be like a kickstand. Or if you're going for a full bind, your right hand would be behind you. Good. And whatever version you've chosen, now aim your chest for your right knee. And remember that ab work we did before to help you twist. Draw the abs in, twist a little bit more, fold a little bit more. And just keep repeating that. Abs in, twist more, fold. Okay, let's slowly get out of there. And vinyasa or downward dog. So we're coming to our headstands again. This time we're going to do some little circly things. I'll just face this way. We're still going to do Baddha Hasta Sirsasana A. That's the one with the foundation most solid. We're going to have our legs together. We'll rise up all the way to vertical or whatever you consider your comfortable vertical. And then we'll open the legs out. We'll sweep them down as low as we can without falling out of the headstand and bring them in again so that we can repeat. So you may have your toes kind of grazing the floor as you're circling down, or you may be more like hip height or anywhere in between. So this will be a function of how flexible are your hips, how strong are your hip flexors, how strong are your abdominals, how solid is your foundation. A million things are in play. We'll just do about 3 to 5. And if you're not inverting, dolphin would be a good option, or down dog B, so that you can still get your shoulders worked. And your foundation is going to have to change just a bit depending on where your legs are. So go very slowly and give your forearms and your wrists and your edge of hand all a chance to play. Carolyn, you okay? Good. So the bent knee option for low back pain is excellent choice. If your back hurts, doing this with straight legs can be brutal. So just keep the knees close to the chest. Good. So whenever you've done your 3 to 5, you'll probably need a little rest, and you could take either a child's pose rest or a kneeling rest. I like to rest kneeling in toe crunch. There's no wrong way to rest.
How can you call toe crunch rest?
Oh, I love it. I can stay here forever. And let's meet in downward dog. Let's bring our right leg into pigeon again. I'm going to face this other way. So this time, we're going to walk our fingers out to the right diagonal, kind of over that knee. We'll slide our left arm out, make a pillow, and we'll reach our right arm around the back. You may or may not find your foot. It depends on where you put your foot in your pigeon. And it doesn't matter if you don't find your foot, because you're in the pigeon shape you want. But you'll start to bring your right shoulder back. And as you're doing that, try to keep your right hip down so you're not just falling over onto the side. Okay, then let's rise up, and we'll just step back and lower down onto our bellies, so that we can do our favorite shoulder stretch the whole time. So left arm out to the side, right arm will come over the left. It's hard. So we'll let our forehead drop down toward the floor. Mine is very far away from the floor. But those are the shoulders that I've been given. As you're here, you just have your arms roughly in a straight line. Try to draw your belly in and push your pubic bone down. So you're not in a weird back bend. There should be no strain there. And it's not a relaxed pose for that core. Okay, oh gosh, let's somehow get out of there. Whoa. Find your downward dog. So that you can find pigeon on your left side, adding the twist. So first, set up your pigeon like you normally would. Then move your arms to the left, and we'll aim our belly button toward that left knee. The right arm out as a pillow, head drops, and then the left arm curls around and attempts to find the foot, or maybe the floor, or the hip, or the ribs. And if you've ever tried like a king pigeon, you know how easy it is to sort of fall over to the side, fall out of a pigeon. So squeeze your thighs together. Try to keep yourself square, even though you're twisting, even though your left shoulder's peeling back. Okay, and let's slowly unravel. We'll step back and lower down to our bellies. We'll bring our right arm out to the side, and then our left arm over, trying to get a straight line. Más o menos. Drop the head. Try not to strangle yourself on your shoulder. And notice how tempting it is to have the ribs be really heavy and the hips be really light. Try to reverse that. Get your hips heavy and your ribs light. Then you'll feel less strain in your back. Hips are heavy, the legs are strong even. Oh, okay, somehow get out of there and we'll meet in downward dog. You feel like a noodle. Ooh, the overcooked spaghetti noodle. Okay, so we'll do our headstands again, this time in Baddha Hasta C, if possible. So only if that other way was smooth. And in this version, it's the similar setup, but instead of your fingers interlaced, palms are flat. And then you decide, you did 3 different things, kind of amping up the difficulty. So you could have your legs in the L, and then work on opening and closing. That was the first one we did. That's hard. Or you could have your legs in the open shape and work on going up and down. Also hard. Or you can work on circling your legs around. Which in this headstand, I don't go as low to the floor. I am now watching. I had to stop talking because I could not do that stuff and talk. Good. And you might try one thing and realize it was too easy or it was too hard, and you could do something else. You want to be challenged enough that you're not mind wandering around. Right, Miss Katie? Okay. So when you've had enough of such things, take a rest. And we're going to meet on our bellies in a symmetrical place, so you have enough time to rest for a moment if you need. All right, so when you get to your belly, let's interlace the fingers behind the back, but we're not going to lift ourselves up just yet. You can just kind of put your hands back there for a sec. And I want you to try to, and your legs to be together apart, try to get light through your lowest rib and heavy through your pubic bone. Light through the belly button, heavy through the hips. And when you feel like you can maintain that, now lift your chest and shoulders and reach your knuckles toward your feet. Sometimes we call this Scapular C. Try to get your wrists a little higher off your butt if you can. One more breath. Good. And then we'll come on down, release your grip. And let's just press back to child's pose for a moment, which is a very gentle forward bend. But if you're having back issues, it could be a really big deal. I have so many back issues over the course of my life that sometimes I can't do child's pose for months at a time. Okay. So we're going to attempt tripod headstand, and if that hurts your neck, repeat this version, the interlaced fingers. And in the tripod, we're going to try a twist. So we'll come up, and you decide how high you go. You could even just have one leg kind of stay where you could see it. That would make it more stable. The leg that you could see, you could either have kept it there or moved it back down there. You're going to twist it over to the edge, opposite edge of the mat. Possibly touch the edge, and then bring it through center. Now, when you want to change legs, it would be more difficult if I lift the leg up and then bring the other one down in terms of your emotional state. You might want to bring them down, because then you can see them. If you fall from here, you fall into a safe place. If you fall from vertical, it's not quite as safe. So when you're ready to change sides, you change it in a smart way. You bring your foot to the opposite side of the mat. Go as low as you want, and then through center again. And if while you're setting up, if you have any strain in your neck, go to a different headstand. Good, so it's very methodical and slow. You find the L shape, you find the twist, and then you touch down as low as you can without falling out of headstand. That's the catch. Lisa, elbows in a little closer. Yes. And plug your arms into the socket. Nice. John, you could probably get your leg lower. And then you'll just have to fight a little bit harder to get it up again. Yes. And go slow on the way up, even though it's a fight. Like a slow burn. Good. So after you've tried both sides at least once, we will meet back again together on our bellies. We did Scapular C. Now we're going to try A. We'll see how it goes. So come on down. Arms will be by our sides, knuckles on the floor, palms facing up. I like to wiggle my legs together just to kind of reset the thigh flesh. And try to get your belly in, pubic bone heavy. Start to lift your chest and shoulders up, possibly your legs up. If you have back pain, it is helpful to do back bends. And it is helpful to strengthen the back. Well, you'll have to go real slow at first. Take 2 more breaths. Good. And we'll come on down, hands under the shoulders. We'll curl up on your inhale. And downward dog for your exhale. Pedal it out if you need to. Okay, we'll just do one more thing in tripod. And those of you who have practiced and want to practice coming into Baddha Hasta from there, feel free to do that. This little exercise would be a prep for that. So we would come up into tripod, and we would lower one leg onto the arm, and then we would lift it up again. And then we would try to lower the other leg. So we're actually touching the knee to the tricep. You could also go both legs at once, trying to touch and then lift. We'll see how that goes. It's possible that your hips are not flexible enough to actually touch the knee of the tricep, in which case you just aim it in that direction. John, do you need to see it again? Okay. So John, you're gonna do this. You're gonna go up, and then you're gonna put one knee on the arm, then up, and then the other knee on the arm. And John, come on down for 1 sec and reset your foundation. Your head and hands were a little bit too much in a straight line. You gotta have a little more of a triangle, a little more like aggressive triangle. Yeah. Good. And Lisa, do that again, but do it in Ardha Kukutasana. So lotus up your legs. Yeah. You're like, what the heck is Ardha Kukutasana? So it's the same as a Bakasana, just that you're in lotus instead.
Yeah, it cut out for a second. I couldn't hear you.
Ah. So those of you who are still upside down, stay there and do whatever you're doing. Those of you who are not upside down, let's make our palms face up, and we're just gonna circle one finger at a time. Thumb and then pointer. Lisa, I'm watching you. Start to lower your butt down, round your back, go to your forehead and straighten your arms as soon as your head lifts. Close, very close. That was good. So those of you who are rolling fingers, we'll try to isolate one finger at a time. It's like virtually impossible. And go the other direction with the roll. So just our pinky, and then just the ring finger, and then just the middle finger. Oh gosh. It's really like a little mind teaser. But it's great fun. If you're ever on a bus, you can do that. Okay. So that's just helping hand muscles and articulation. Okay, let's come on to our bellies again. We have Shalabhasana B. We're doing them out of order. We did C, then A, now B. So we'll lay on our bellies. We'll have our hands come back about in line with the lowest ribs. Pubic bone down, belly in, chest and shoulders up. And we'll try to get our shoulders about to the height of our elbows. You can't really see if that's happening. I can see it if it's happening for you. Miss Bailey, you can come 3 more inches. Chest up. There you go. And maybe legs up, you decide, but make sure you're pushing pubic bone down. Good. And let's come on down. Slide the hands forward just a couple inches and rise into your Cobra or your upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Okay. Let's walk our feet forward and squat for a moment. Whatever version of squat you do, just draw your belly in. And we'll lay down on our backs for a little bit of bridge action. I'm going to face this way so I can still see y'all in my computer. All right. So we'll have our heels kind of close to the butt, just like you should be able to graze them with your fingers. Now let's start to lift our hips up. We'll interlace the fingers under the back. So we'll have to rock a little bit side to side. And as you're rocking, you're going to roll the opposite shoulder under you a little more. And eventually you can get your palms to touch. your arms straight, your edge of hand pushing into the floor. So this is one of those poses that you're sort of never going to be done with. There's always room for growth. Okay, let's come on down and make a choice if you want to do that again, or if you're going to come up to Ardha. We'll place the hands. We'll make sure the elbows are facing up to the ceiling, not out to some weird angle, straight up. Then as you come to the top of your head, you make sure your elbows are in line with your wrists, parallel forearm. And then you can push up. Because when you push up, you don't want pain in the shoulder. You want it to be all set. So we just take the alignment care first. Okay, let's come on down. Let's bring the right knee into the chest. Extend the left leg out straight along the mat. Twist the right knee over to the left. And try to keep both shoulders on the floor. You might even want to hold your foot instead of your knee and straighten your leg. Go through center and change sides. So when you're just holding your left knee in, your right leg is straight, it's super easy to get the shoulders down. The left one is as heavy as the right one. So come into your twist without letting your left one lift off the ground at all. So make a decision, do you hold your knee or your foot? I just cracked my back, it's amazing. Okay, and we'll come back through center. Bring both knees in and somehow rock and roll yourself up to sitting. And we're going to just take a like a dolphin shape with our arms, but we'll keep our knees together on the floor. So it's like a tabletop dolphin kind of thing. And let's just, with the bent right knee, reach our toes up to the ceiling. And then tap it to the tricep. And lift your toes up to the ceiling again, and straighten your leg and let your toes tap down the back of the mat. Bend the knee, toes up to the ceiling. We'll just do this one more time on the right leg. Press your right knee to your tricep. Lift your toes up to the ceiling again. And extend the leg, tap the toes out on the ground. Okay, bring your right knee to meet your left knee. We'll just try the other side. So before we do the other side, draw your belly in, and we'll try not to be too wiggly with the belly or the arms. Let's lift the left toes up to the ceiling, the knee is bent, and tap your left knee to your left tricep. Keep weight in your left arm. Lift your left toes to the ceiling again, and then tap your leg straight down to the ground. Lift your leg, bend the knee, toes up, tap to the tricep. Toes up again, inhale, and then legs straight, tap down. Good. Let's just bring our left knee to meet our right knee. Let's separate the hands so we have parallel forearms, and we'll lift the knees for down dog B, potentially turning it into Pigeon. So most of us lift up one leg at a time. As you're doing that, if you do it that way, you need to keep your arms equal on the ground, like we did in that little drill. You can't be leaning over to one side. And this pose is a lot of finger work, pushing your fingertips down into the floor. Takes a lot of stubbornness also, this pose. And John, for the block, instead of having it like right here at the webbing of your hand, let your thumb come in a little bit. So there's like a little space there at the nook of your thumb. So that the hand position is just a little more natural, because normally your thumb wouldn't be 90 degrees out to the side. When you get to your balance, either squeeze your legs together or practice what we did in headstand, open your legs out toward a straddle and bring them in again. And that could be opening them like 2 inches. Oh, hello, my darling. Oh, somebody is waving to us with a big white belly. I feel like his name is Leo, is that right?
No, that's Charlie.
Charlie, okay, Charlie. I've stopped talking because doing a straddle forearm stand is very hard, but it's fun. And one day, we're going to be able to do it in the same way we do the headstand. Okay, so let's head down onto our backs again. We're going to do one more back bend from here. Your choice if it is Ardha or something else. We're going to take 5 breaths. Whenever you've taken your 5, then come on down. And we'll just kind of fall over to the side and stand on our knees. So our last back bend is going to be Ustrasana. Normally it wouldn't be a last one, but it does make us kind of sweat and get anxious in weird ways because it's a very open pose. So before we start, let's put hands on the hips, squeeze the elbows together, and lift the chest up, which you did earlier in your warrior 1. So chest up, throat open, chin up, hips forward. Keep pressing your hips forward and reach your hands maybe for your heels. So we did a lot of work to push your hips and your pelvis into the floor. It's that same work, but now you're pushing forward into space. Good, and let's slowly rise up, and we'll just lower down to the forearms. Down dog B. Make a decision. Do you want to stay there? Do you want to invert again? Or do you want to go to child's pose? Take a few breaths, doing whatever it is that you planned. I'm choosing a Scapular, which is a forearm stand where I'm a little bit straighter than a Pigeon, or I'm trying to be. I don't actually know if I am. If I review the tape later, I'll see what it actually was doing. And take another breath or 2 wherever you are, and we will meet up in a double pigeon, right leg on top. So to get over back pain, there's not really one thing, but if you can do back bends and hip openers, it's good. We think that we should do a lot of forward bends, and they do feel good, but sometimes when you're in a painful place, forward bends are not an option. So in double pigeon, let's reach our chest toward our shin bone and consider adding a twist. Maybe your elbow to the arch, maybe your tricep or your shoulder to the arch. No double pigeon, John? Maybe Johnny Shirsasana, like what we did before? Yeah. To open the hip a bit, does that hurt? Okay. All right, so when you finish that side, you switch sides. If it took you a while to get into it, maybe you don't switch right now. And twist if you did that on the other side. Okay, slowly unravel. And let's lay back. And we'll just do a tiny little drill for happy baby, and then we'll go for Shavasana. So let's reach our legs up, and you'll have your hands up, but your legs are longer than your arms, so you're not going to quite hold your feet just yet. We'll start to bend the knees. We'll bring our feet into our hands, and then we'll push the knees down toward the floor. And we'll just press the legs up again, and our grip will get lost. And we'll just do this a few times. Just notice the tendency to be all rocky and rolly with the hips, and try to minimize that. So as your knees are pushing down, you don't have to let your tailbone lift up off the ground. You can keep your neutral. But it takes thinking about it. The next time that you're in happy baby, we'll stay there. And we'll just play with a few of the different positions. So let's let the tailbone lift up and the spine smush into the floor. And we'll get our knees a little closer to the floor this way. Start to press your sacrum down into the floor. Feel that flat low back go down, and now maybe the knees can't be quite as low. Just see what that feels like. Might feel a little more crunched in the hip, you know. And slowly let that go, shake it out, do anything else that you might need, and we'll just meet in Shavasana. more breath. Let's bend the knees, roll to the side. Eventually sit up. Let's rub the hands together, generate some heat in the palms. And make the palms hover or gently press on the eyes. Relax the eyes, the brows, and just enjoy the darkness. Let's slide the hands together, thumbs between the brows, and fold forward. Namaste.